started farming when I was 10, my first job, and fell in love with it.
Molly Nelson lives on her farm in Cornish.
Spent a lot of time in the woods. So that's my number one thing, is spending time in the woods. Hi, puppy dogs. I'm just super fascinated with animal behavior and any kind of behavior, even plant behavior. I love observing. I've always been an observer.
Death abounds in nature, and in her own life, it's been close by.
I've always known that death is like right there. I guess because when I was born with a pretty serious coart in my aorta, a very narrow, thin section right where the curve is. I've always been told I could blow at any moment, which is kind of rowdy.
For the last several years, Molly has helped guide 13 people through the end of their life as a certified death doula.
It's like the most rewarding, fascinating, it sounds like a downer, but it's like a total upper.
She helps people get their ducks in line, as she calls it, helping them with wills, planning their own services, and deciding what they want their end-of-life care to look like.
We have to have the will done, and let's start a legacy project where maybe you want to give some of your land to the Nature Conservancy, or maybe you wanted to make a cookbook with the kids, or just get it all going on, so that they're just like, oh yeah, I got a hold. Or maybe you want to clean out all your crap so your kids don't end up with it, which is what my mom did, which was epic. I mean, she got rid of everything. When she died, we were like, whoo. Even the storage unit that we had the key to, we opened it up and there wasn't anything in it, and we're like, yeah, that's a gift.
One client Molly worked with for several years before he died at the age of 99.
It became apparent that he wanted to have a celebration before he died. He wanted to basically be at his funeral, and he called it graduating. So then between the two of us, we came up with the fact, let's have a graduation party. And it was epic. It was just the best. He had one of those little hats with a tassel, and all the neighbors coming by, and stories were told, and food. He says, let's have a big bowl and put a bunch of questions in there that will trigger conversations about death. And there was a lot of people there that had never met each other before at his graduation party. And his wish was he said, I would like everyone here to pick a buddy that you've never met before and take a couple of these questions out of the bowl and go for a little stroll around the farm and talk about it. And those guys went for 3.5 hours. They didn't want to quit. It was amazing. So that kind of magic can happen.
But she kind of has a way of getting in, delving in without offending you, without being personal and invading your personal space in a way, but drawing things out of you. She's just so good at it. And she's very honest and open. I mean, she just says it like it is in a kind way. And you got to think about this, and you got to do this. And she gives you notes, and she gives you steps, and she gives you homework to do.
Kathy Minardi has been working with Molly for the last several years.
I have thyroid cancer that metastasized to my one hip, my lungs. The good thing about having a death doula, she's an outside person, and she can discuss it with you without the emotions of talking about it with your child. Your child or your close people are not always comfortable having those discussions, but of course she is, because that's what she does, and she's wonderful at it.
Whether you're the person dying or the person who has a loved one that's dying, there's so much denial, I guess, in our culture. And that's such a bummer, because you're missing out on some rich stuff.
Kathy says she feels she has an advantage in knowing she can plan for death.
And that's something I think she helps with, just having you let go. What do you want to continue to do? And what memories do you want to make? And what do you have to give up? I feel like I'm going to be able to deal with it pretty well, but you never know till you're there.
Molly has been present for 5 of her clients' actual deaths, an experience she considers an honor.
Beauty and all the emotions you could ever imagine. Celebrating, people totally losing it, everything. Anger, it goes all over the place. And nothing's wrong, nothing's bad. And it's also really nice to help people understand that that none of that is bad. They're living life exactly as it should be.
Molly works to prepare the families of her clients as well, and she makes sure to check her own beliefs of death and afterlife at the door, letting her clients' belief systems be the guide.
I guess at this point in my life, death doesn't scare me, but it's sad because there's things, you're not going to watch your grandson do this or your son and wife do that. So, there's a sadness to it, but you just try and making memories we talk about a lot, and just make as many memories as you can while you're able to.
She may be called a death doula, but Molly Nelson is really a guide, helping people find their way from this life, not without pain or sadness, but hopefully with acceptance.
Don't rob yourself of the experience of how beautiful and amazing it can be. Don't rob yourself of all the emotions that come up. It's, like I say, it's one of the most magical times of life. It's one of the biggest things that happens to us.
Now, Molly Nelson is one of 2 death doulas in Maine that are certified by the International End-of-Life Doula Association. Molly was the subject of a documentary called Death and Her Compass that recently screened at the Camden International Film Festival. You saw a few clips from the documentary in our story. We have information on that film and more about Molly Nelson on our website and app.
Just watching that and listening to Molly talk was calming. So you're so thankful that people like her exist out there to sort of walk you through.
And she faces it head on,
right,
which was really remarkable.
Yeah, great story.